everyone. Welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper. The world can't get enough of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. That's why fans are looking forward to Harry and Meghan Becoming Royal, Lifetime's sequel to the 2018 hit movie, which continues the love story of the newlyweds. Today, I'm sitting down with Tiffany Smith and Charlie Fields, who play the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But first, here's a sneak peek.
About 20 times a day, I am pinching myself thinking, is this real?
Meg, think the royals will ever really accept you?
The firm has been around for 1,000 years. You've known each other 18 months.
I'm not going to silence her.
I've been sent to keep you in line.
Daddy, you did stage those photos.
It's got to be hard to look at yourself in the mirror every day pretending to be a British royal.
Okay, look at me. Look.
I can't do this.
We can get through this, you and I. I love you, and you love me. And that's all that matters.
If I don't speak up before the wedding, the world is just gonna see me as a girl in a dress. I have to start living up to the person I want to be.
Everyone, please help me welcome Tiffany Smith and Charlie Fields.
Hi, guys. This is so, I just have to say, first of all, this is so cool. There's an audience here. I love this.
Yeah, no, we love having you here. I got to watch the movie, and I know that you guys are a new cast. So there was the first one, but they have recasted for the second one, and I have to say, really great casting. You guys nailed it. So I want to know what that process was like for you. How were you cast? Was it an open audition? Was it something that somebody was like, you look just like Meghan Markle, you should probably do this?
So it was kind of an audition process like any other project. You know, I actually had a friend reach out to me and say, I saw this breakdown. If you're not submitted for it, your manager is crazy. And I messaged him and he's like, of course, I already submitted you on it. And then casting was like, yes, we'd love to have you come in. And I met with Carrie, who's wonderful. I had such a great time just in the casting room talking with them. And then it was the callback. And, you know, after I went for the callback, it was kind of one of those moments where you walk out and you're like, I did everything that I possibly could in the room. And I just felt really, really connected to the script and the stuff that I'd read and, you know, just playing Meghan. I have such respect for her. I think she's such an amazing woman. So even getting to play a little piece of her life, it's been an incredible experience for me. So once I booked it, I definitely had a dance party by myself. I called all my friends and then I was like, yay, this is going to be incredible. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into?
Like so much research and work to do.
Yeah, for sure.
How about you, Charlie? What was the casting process like?
Well, I definitely remember coming off a bus in a place called Putney in London and getting a call from my agent and then be like, no, I said something a little bit rude, which I probably can't say on here. But I was like,
You can say whatever you want to say.
No.
There you go.
Well, don't say that. But yeah, so I remember thinking, yeah, a lot of shock of like, how are you going to really portray these people who are so famous and so loved around the world and affirmed. So it's quite daunting.
Yeah. In your real lives, how often were you like compared to these two people just before this was even a thing?
Tiffany?
So it for sure started with Suits. I used to live in New York City, and some of my girlfriends, when I moved to Los Angeles, they were like, we watch Suits when we miss you because there's a girl on it, and she reminds us of you, and she kind of sounds like you. And so that was kind of my first intro to Suits. And then once Harry and Meghan started dating, that was when people started coming up to me on the street and being like, you know who you look like? And then the funniest story was, so I was doing a project in London and I was training for a half marathon at the time. And it was when the Dodgers were in the World Series in LA. So I had on my like Dodgers baseball cap and I had on my like yoga pants and I'm running in the park. And I'm like, I've got to put this on social media that I'm training while I'm working. I'm so proud of myself. And so I'm like, I asked someone passing by, can you take a photo of me? Meanwhile, I'm like right in front of Kensington Palace and I didn't like register it. And so the guy takes the photo and he starts to walk away and he was like, I'm sorry, but are you Meghan Markle? And I was like, no, I'm not. Oh, that's so sweet. She's so beautiful. Like, that's such a great compliment. I went for drinks with my girlfriends who are British that night. And they were like, you know that's where they live, right? Like, you were in front of her house asking someone to take a photo of you. And I was like, at the time, I had no idea.
Oh, but I love that guy. He probably went home. He's like, I met Meghan Markle today. She said she wasn't Meghan Markle, but it was in front of her house. Like,
yeah, it was all of the things that pointed to it might be her. But then I was like, if she was in front of her house being like, can you take a photo of me? It might be a little silly.
And where did you grow up?
So I grew up in a little town called Bath in UK, and around that area in Salisbury, which became famous lately for something not so good, which was the Novichok thing. But we don't need to go into that, not on this show. And yeah, so to be honest with you, I've only ever, like, people have said when I was growing up, oh, I had sort of strawberry blonde hair, more ginger than I'm sort of more blonde as I get up, and then obviously they dyed it for this. So sometimes it'd be like, yeah, they might say like, oh, Prince Harry, da, da, da. But I don't think it was as much as for you. It was like, I remember meeting Tiff on the first day and being like, it's her. Like, it was so shocking. I remember in the hotel.
It was
It's crazy.
Pretty uncanny.
The really cool thing about it was for a lot of projects, you know, you're on set and you have to do so much in hair and makeup, and our hair and makeup team on the movie was so incredible, but
Sick. Yeah.
it was, the makeup was so easy, which was great. And the other thing was there's so much stuff online about what kind of makeup she wears. And so it was funny because there were already some things that I wore that I had in my own makeup stuff at home. And then, you know, added in some more stuff where there's certain lip colors and stuff where I'm like, God, this is really beautiful. I'm going to keep this for myself. So that part of it was really fun and easy. And, you know, I think the big part, like Charlie mentioned, it's just that there is so much respect, and it was a little bit daunting taking on these people's lives, you know, because there is a lot of factual stuff in the movie, but there's also so much of it that's behind closed doors. And, you know, we really had to trust our director and writer that the story that they wove in between those moments was really well done. And for me, the biggest piece, I think, in portraying Megan is that she's such a woman who is so much about women's empowerment and supporting other people, and both of them together in their partnership putting good into the world. So I really hope that this movie does that when you watch it, you feel joyful and uplifted, and, you know, you can really see the love that's there, and, you know, just enjoy it.
And they are so public, right? So in watching the movie, I see all these moments that I've seen photographs of and I've seen happen in real life, which is so cool. The wardrobe was always on point, and so cool to see you guys recreate that. But yeah, then you mentioned there's the times in between, those private moments that they have. Obviously that dialogue has been created. Do you know how much research was done to get those moments sort of accurate, or was there any sort of like insider intel, or, you know, or was that just from the mind of the writer of the movie?
Definitely a lot of research they did. I there's a couple of lines they improvised in there, which I'd like to point out were me and Tiffany, definitely not what they probably would have said. But yeah, Scarlett, the writer, I mean, she's a real, is it, royalophobe is, no, what's the right phrase? Royal,
Like a royal expert?
She knows a lot about the royals. Yeah.
She knows a lot about the
royals.
I can't remember.
A royalist.
Royalist.
No, I made that up.
Yeah. So she.
We'll go with it. It's close. Good.
So she put loads of stuff, which I had no idea. But being a Brit, I felt embarrassed by how little I knew from doing this movie, and the amount of research you'd see that they've put into the show is crazy. Yeah.
What's something that surprised you about the royal life or the royal protocol?
The dogs. I had no idea that Harry and Meghan had they love dogs. Yeah. So we turned up on set, and I read in the script. I saw these puppies written into the script, and I thought, oh, I wonder, I didn't know about it. And sure enough, we turned up on set, and a beautiful little Labrador. What was it? A Labrador, was it?
I think we had a little lab puppy.
Yeah, it was so cute.
It was adorable. It was so cute. And I do remember that the scene that we shot, I had on a light blue blazer. And we were rehearsing, and I had on the blazer, and he handed me the puppy, and everyone was like, no, don't take the puppy, because we only have one of those blazers. Because he was such a little baby puppy that it's like, he might pee on you, and then we don't have anything else for you to wear for this scene.
And not only that, I mean, there was the puppies were very looked after. They had they had some great handlers, but there was some small spots on the dog, like white spots, which they had to dye to try and make sure the color was consistent with Meghan Harry's dog. Yeah. And one day Tiffany picked up the dog, and on her beautiful dress
I had on like a white button-down shirt on this day.
Picked up this dog, didn't know it was dyed, and then all the color had gone on her dress.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna get in there with this dog, and then it was like, sorry, this shot's not gonna work because now I have dog dye on me.
You gotta love that movie magic. Dog dye, a phrase I've never thought I would hear.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Here we
are.
To
be
be
honest. Yeah.
What sort of research did you guys do to get into these people specifically, their mannerisms, just little things? Did you study tapes? Did you look at old acting reels or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, Tiffany said she just went home and binge watched Suits.
I watched a lot of
ages,
Suits. I did, yeah.
Was your kind of I don't think Harry's done any films or anything like that. But I mean, there's so much footage of them on YouTube and so many great documentaries about them as well, and all the amazing stuff they've done as well. I think that's the thing that I was really shocked, not shocked by, but stunned by, was how much, particularly Harry in his time. I know because Megan's joined the family later on. So much stuff I didn't know about.
It's really. It makes it a little bit easier because the two of them are so public, and even Megan before, even dating Harry, where there was so much stuff where she was, like I said, speaking for women's empowerment and public engagements and interviews to talk about Suits and stuff. So that was really nice to kind of look at and draw stuff from. And then the small moments where it's like their engagement video where, the very end of it, there's this moment that the sound is off, but it's just the two of them being silly and playful together. And that was something for me that, really stood out because we get to see one side of them and so much of that. And it was just a good reminder that, they're a couple that's truly in love and they're playful and they get to be silly when they're together. So I think that opened it up a lot more for us in the moments that it was just us two behind closed doors for those scenes to get to be like, okay, they are just like any other couple, but also have this whole other layer on top of it.
But were there any mannerisms or anything that you brought into the role, like a hand movement or like a little tick or anything like that?
So Tiffany found this great Instagram account and then showed me, used to find videos and then text while I was in the hotel, just about to go to sleep. And then you said, oh, look what Harry, the way Harry holds
Megan's hand. Well,
Tiffany
because I feel like any relationship I've been in, there's a particular way you hold hands with someone. Like certain couples cross their fingers, certain couples don't. And so that to me is such an important thing every time I've been in a relationship where it's like, oh, this is our thing. And the fact that
thing different on different relationships, like.
Now I haven't been in that many relationships. So.
Yeah, sometimes she just holds pinkies.
Yeah,
sometimes it's the whole
holding,
hand.
just pinky holding.
Thing, yeah.
But I think it also stood out because of the fact that, you hear so much about the royals they're not able to be as affectionate publicly. And so that's one thing that I love about them is that they have kind of been open about their affection for each other. And it's wonderful. And so that was where, the small things that I wanted to really incorporate for us.
Are you guys ever concerned about them seeing this? I mean, it is a beautiful portrait. So there's nothing bad in it, right? But they are real living people and they have access to, Lifetime.
Yeah. We have differing, we can only speak from our personal experiences of whether if someone made a movie about us as people, what we would want. And me and Tiffany, it's come out quite a lot. It's like, for me, I would be like, oh, no, I don't want to see myself in a movie. So my prediction is they wouldn't watch it. But Tiffany was...
I think for me, being an actress, I'm like, if someone made a movie about me, I would... or invite my girlfriends over, get some delivery, and just sit and watch it. And, I don't know if they will watch or not. The only thing I can really say is that I hope that if they do watch, they like I said, for everybody else, that there's so much joy that they get out of it. And, where it's, even if the things that we did behind closed doors, they're like, that's not like us at all, that they can still see the, love and stuff that we put into the film, which...
I would 100% watch it. I'm with you. Especially Megan being an actress, I would have to watch it just to know, because she can't act anymore. So she may be living through you. You never even know.
I highly doubt that part. I'm getting to live vicariously through her for the tiniest little piece.
But even in doing that, is that appealing? Because when you look at all of the things they have to do to be in the royal family, all of the restrictions, do you have a newfound respect for just the role that they have to play?
Oh,
absolutely.
Totally, yeah. I mean, everything they have to sort of go. I mean, they do so many amazing things that maybe don't always get seen. I've been looking a lot at the Invictus games that Harry does. And I know you've seen quite a few things. It must be exhausting.
It was, for me, the really interesting thing was, I'm multiracial, and so that was a big part of taking on this role for me, which was really, really close to my heart, because hearing my parents' story and then hearing some of the stuff that Harry and Meghan have gone through and just how courageous and, bold that they've been, where they're like, this is us and this is what we're doing. And hopefully everyone's behind us and supports us, which I think that so many people do, myself included. So that was a really big part of it for me. And then also leaving the project, just so much of the good that they put into the world. They do so much philanthropy. They do so much for mental health and mental awareness. And so I came back home and, I do stuff with charities, but I came back and was really like, okay, how much more can I be doing on any level? Because obviously not everybody is at the level that Harry and Meghan are, but you can do small things in your own community. And that's kind of one of the things where it's like, if you can spread joy, if you can give someone a compliment or, volunteer somewhere, it's really incredible.
That's such a cool takeaway from a role. Do you feel like it has sort of inspired you to be more active in your philanthropies or activism?
For me, for sure.
Just to be, to serve people and be not selfless. Yeah, selfless in your thoughts. I mean, the way they do, and a lot of the roles, that is the one role. Well, there are many roles, but is to serve other people. And I think, certainly, I don't do that enough at home.
Do you have an organization that you're really passionate about?
I can see where we're going from chatting
Just doing my
backstage. Doing a job very well. So I'm currently just about to work on a project supporting a charity called Rise. It's a kind of a feature film that's been done out of a production company in LA and in the UK, where they're supporting Rise, the charity that supports domestic abuse victims, and everyone in the project's doing it for free. All the directors are female, either people who are survivors of that or are involved in some way. I think they're filming it this weekend with Amanda. I can't remember her second name, but she's just won a Nobel. It's being nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. So that's been really cool to kind of serve on, which has been great.
I think like the great part about being an actress or being in these positions that we're in is that we do get to really volunteer and do things. And so, for Easter, I did feeding the homeless in downtown LA. And then I work with UNICEF Next Gen, which I absolutely love because they are so focused on the younger generation and just really focusing on, putting good into the world. So, yeah.
Absolutely. We need more good. That's why this was so fun to watch, because there is, with the royal family, there's so much gossip. And you can find basically any sort of story you want about them, positive or negative. And I did love about this movie that it really leaned into like, these two people are human and they're just like trying to navigate this impossible situation with grace. And it just made me like be a little more sensitive to them. Yeah. Like when I'm reading headlines, I was like, oh, that's not fair to them. Just like watching this, like they're just people. So good job. Before we go, we do have a couple of questions. Who do we have first?
What kind of research and preparation did you have to do to be really similar to them?
In terms of like being similar, we had a great makeup and hair team, as you can see, who like did an awesome job. In terms of prep, there was a lot of watching videos and on documentaries, stuff like that. Amazon Prime, the deepest, darkest sections of Amazon Prime, they have some amazing documentaries with them. What did you do, Tiff?
Definitely watching a lot of videos, but then a big piece of it for us was, we sat down with the director very early on and read the script together. And then Charlie and I talked with him about it. And then he went back and talked with the writer because she wasn't with us in Vancouver where we shot. And then came back and had some changes in the script. And then we read it again together, which it felt really lucky that we got to have that time, because a lot of times when you're on a project, you get the script and you don't have as much time with the director or even your lead co-star to talk about how you feel about a scene. And so that was really helpful for us.
I also want to point out, though, too, like how much of the writing was in flux, because these people are real and living their lives. And so there were events that were happening, I'm sure, while you were filming. Did they ever go in and add something? Because I know like the baby shower's not in the movie, but like that was happening and it was too late, basically, right?
There was talk about like they were trying to think, how do you show the baby? And do you film two genders in like and then replace it? But I think it didn't need it, I don't think, in the story.
Yeah, we did it. I mean, that kind of stuff. If stuff was changing in the script that way, we weren't really privy to it. It was more the stuff where it's like, oh, maybe I like, how about their interaction is a little bit more like this? We feel this is more comfortable, that sort of thing. But the changes and stuff that was going on in real life, I think both of us really tried to kind of stay within what we were working on and not pay as much attention to everything that was going on the
Probably makes your life a lot easier too, that you're not getting like massive rewrites like every day.
Right, yeah, that would be huge, wouldn't it?
Miserable.
Yeah. It would add a little bit to the acting work for sure.
Yeah.
And one more question.
Hi. So I'm just wondering, so naturally when playing a public figure, there's going to be a large part of an impression of the performance, but I was curious if there's any parts of yourselves you see in your performance of these characters.
Ever since I was a little girl, there's photos of me with like what my parents call the big mouth smile, where I'm like, ha. If I'm really happy or I get really excited, it's like a laugh smile that just comes naturally. And it was one of the things that even the director talked with me about, where he's like, we love it, but we want to like use it sparingly because it's just me, you know? So that was one of the things that I think comes through that is very me. And also, you know, it just is joyful. And so I think that there is a lot of Megan that is joyful, but the like full faced where I'm like, like is I think 100% me.
Yeah, mine. So I grew up in a military family, kind of for like generations. So it's kind of like it's very hard sometimes to just get that side of myself out of me. And I think, you know, with Harry's background as well, a lot spending some time in the military. I mean, it's something I very related to when I started doing research on him. I don't know if I have a tick or something like yours. I'm trying to think if there was one.
I don't know.
I never used to do this when I hold my jacket. If you have a suit jacket, I don't know if you ever see Harry. He's often, when he's with Megan,
Photos,
often
yeah.
holds his there. But I wouldn't say I do that. I've started to do it because it looks great if you do it in photos. So
Yeah, I think it's something funny when you do a role like this and there are little things where, you know, you kind of take on things that they do and everyone has them. Like I said, like mine's the big laugh smile thing. I'm sure I have 100 other weird things that I do. Hers, he's like, let me just tick them off for you, Tiffany. He's like going through them in his head right now. You are. But you leave a project and, you know, you realize that those are some of the things that you take away with you, along with some additional incredibly beautiful things where it's like, you know, walking away and like I said, feeling like, how can we put more good into the world? How can you spread more joy? How can you be a better example for yourself and everybody else? So, yeah.
Well, I know that fans of the Duke and Duchess are going to love this because, like I said, it's just such a nice, like, emotional story of their love. But also royalists out there, all those experts will, like, really enjoy this.
New term
I'm trying
on
to
this
get
show.
it to catch on. Did that work?
Yeah.
So if you guys want to check out Harry and Meghan Becoming Royal, it airs on Lifetime on May 27th at 8 p.m. Please put your hands together for Tiffany Marie Smith and Charlie Fields.
Thanks, you guys.